Hello friends. When we think about the Leo personality in the realm of friendship, we're stepping into a world that feels both dazzling and complex. The lion of the zodiac isn't just about pride and charisma, it's about loyalty, warmth, and sometimes dramatic clashes. To really capture the essence of Leo in friendship, let's break it down into 7 major facets, 2 of which will dive into the most compatible friendship matches and the possible challenges that come with being close to a Leo. The magnetic presence. A friendship with a Leo often begins not with words, but with a feeling, an almost indescribable pull that makes you notice them before you even realize why. They walk into a room, and suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. It's not just about physical appearance, although many Leos carry themselves with a natural elegance or flair that makes heads turn. It's the way they exude vitality, like they carry a piece of the sun itself within their chest. People lean toward them, sometimes unconsciously, because their presence feels like warmth on a chilly day, a comforting brightness that demands attention but also gives reassurance. This magnetic quality isn't forced. Unlike others who crave attention by trying too hard, Leo's magnetism is organic. They don't beg for the spotlight, it follows them as naturally as day follows night. And when you become their friend, you don't just watch them shine, you become part of their glow. Their energy is contagious. You may walk into an event feeling tired or uncertain, but within minutes of standing beside them, you find yourself speaking louder, laughing harder, and forgetting the insecurities that weighed you down only moments before. In friendship, this gravitational pull translates into a sense of belonging. Leo has an instinctive gift for gathering people, for making introductions feel like reunions, and for dissolving awkwardness before it can form. Imagine stepping into a party where you know almost no one. That nerve-wracking moment of scanning the room, wondering where to stand or who to talk to, evaporates if you're with a Leo. They'll sweep you in with an arm around your shoulder, introduce you to the most interesting people, and present you as though you're someone the whole world should be excited to meet. You don't feel like a tag-along, you feel like the guest of honor. What makes this even more powerful is their generosity with the spotlight. Yes, Leos love attention. They bask in admiration like plants drinking in sunlight. But here's the twist, they genuinely want their friends to shine, too. If you accomplish something, they won't hesitate to tell others, even exaggerate your story a little so that you seem even more impressive. They hype you up in front of strangers, cheer the loudest at your small victories, and make you feel like your success is also theirs. This generosity transforms their magnetism from mere charm into a force that uplifts everyone around them. Consider a typical scenario, a group outing that might otherwise feel ordinary. Dinner at a restaurant, maybe a weekend picnic at the park. If a Leo is part of that group, the experience changes. They don't just sit quietly and follow the flow, they orchestrate an energy that makes the gathering sparkle. They're telling funny stories, drawing shy people into conversations, remembering to ask about details others might forget. Didn't you just get promoted? Tell us about it, and creating an atmosphere where laughter and enthusiasm ripple outward. Without them, the event would still happen, but with them, it becomes a memory people will talk about afterward. This is why many describe Leo friends as addictive. It's not that they demand your constant attention, it's that being near them makes you feel more alive, more confident, more seen. They remind you of your own potential by the simple way they carry themselves. Their self-assuredness is rarely just about ego, it's about demonstrating that confidence can be joyous rather than intimidating. Standing beside a Leo, you're reminded of the version of yourself you've always wanted to embrace. Of course, this magnetic presence is not only external, it also shows up in private, quieter moments. When you're sitting with them on a couch, just talking, their energy still radiates. They listen with intent, eyes fixed on you in a way that makes you feel you're the most important person in the world right then. Their warmth isn't only about commanding attention, it's about giving it. That duality, the ability to both draw and give, is what makes their presence so powerful in friendship. Even when they're not trying, they stand out. They might be the one cracking a joke at exactly the right time, or the one who notices someone on the edge of the group and draws them in with a playful remark. They have a radar for discomfort and an instinct for inclusion, which means that their magnetism is never just about them, it's about creating a circle of energy that everyone feels part of. So when people say, being friends with a Leo feels like basking in the warmth of the sun, it isn't just poetic exaggeration. It's the literal truth of their aura. The sun doesn't choose who it shines on, it radiates freely, giving life and light to all in its reach. And that's what it feels like to be in a Leo's orbit. You feel alive, noticed, celebrated. For those who crave vibrancy in their lives, or who sometimes struggle with self-confidence, this warmth can be life-changing. That's why, even long after a Leo friend has left the room, their energy lingers. You'll find yourself replaying their laughter, remembering their encouragement, or even catching yourself standing taller because of something they said. Their magnetic presence is not a fleeting trick of charisma, it's a lasting force, a gift they give to everyone fortunate enough to call them a friend. And now, a little side note. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a thanks button right under this video, or through the donation alerts link in the description. Your support truly helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please leave a like and subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Thank you so much for being here. Now, let's continue. The fierce loyalty. Leos are ruled by the sun, and it is no coincidence that the sun itself becomes the ultimate metaphor for how they approach loyalty. Just as the sun never fails to rise, pouring its light and warmth on the earth without skipping a day, Leo's loyalty is a constant presence in the lives of those they call friends. For Leo, friendship is not a fleeting arrangement or a surface-level bond. It is a sacred pact, something deeper than convenience or circumstance. To them, once a friend has been chosen, that person becomes part of their pride, part of the circle they will protect with every ounce of their fire. This constancy is one of the most defining traits of Leo's character. Imagine having a friend who never vanishes when times get hard. That's what being close to a Leo feels like. They are not the kind of people who only show up when the party is fun, when things are smooth, or when your victories make it easy to stand by your side. They are there in the storm, when the ground shakes, when you've failed, when your confidence is shattered. In those moments, their loyalty becomes your shield, and they fight to remind you of your worth, even if you've forgotten it yourself. But this loyalty isn't quiet or passive. Leo doesn't just sit silently by, offering a soft nod or an occasional kind word. Their loyalty roars. If someone dares to speak poorly of you, a Leo reacts as though the insult was directed at them personally. They leap to your defense, often more fiercely than you would defend yourself. Their fiery spirit does not tolerate disrespect toward the people they love. They will raise their voice, stand their ground, and make it clear that no one touches their friends without facing the force of their protection. To be defended by a Leo is to feel the full force of their heart in action, dramatic, passionate, and unflinching. This sense of taking your battles personally can sometimes catch you by surprise. You may shrug off a criticism or ignore a slight, but Leo won't. To them, your wounds matter, even if you dismiss them. They'll push back, sometimes creating more drama than you expected, but underneath that fiery reaction lies a core truth. You matter too much for them to stand by silently. Their loyalty demands action, because love without action, in their eyes, is meaningless. And that's what makes their friendship feel so rare. For Leo, loyalty isn't just about being present, it's about being all in. It's about taking on your struggles as their own, celebrating your victories as though they had won themselves, and never letting you face life's shadows alone. When they say, "I've got your back," they mean it. It's not a cliché, not a phrase tossed around lightly. It's a vow, sealed in fire, a declaration that once you were part of their circle, you were never truly alone again. There's also an emotional depth to this loyalty that can be profoundly moving. A Leo friend will remember the small details you thought no one noticed. They'll recall the story you shared in passing, the secret you whispered at midnight, the moment you felt weak. And when life tests you again, they'll remind you of those moments and how far you've come. Their loyalty is not only about defending you outwardly, it's about holding on to your essence and making sure you never forget who you were at your strongest. Sometimes, this fierce loyalty can feel overwhelming. It may come across as possessive or overprotective, because Leos struggle to separate their love from their need to guard it. If they sense you're being mistreated, their reaction can be explosive, even when you don't see it as a big deal. But behind that intensity is a truth most people long for: the certainty that someone cares so much about you, they cannot stand idly by while you suffer. Their fire might burn hot, but it burns for you. Think of a Leo in your corner as having a lion at your side. The lion doesn't just lie down quietly while threats circle nearby. It growls, it pounces, it protects with ferocity. This is the very spirit Leo brings to friendship. They embody the guardian, the champion, the defender of their pride. And while their methods may sometimes be dramatic, the outcome is undeniable. You feel safe. You feel chosen. You feel valued in ways that ordinary loyalty never quite achieves. Over time, you begin to understand that this fierce loyalty is not about ego or control. It's about heart. Leos love with their entire being, and to betray or abandon a friend would be like betraying themselves. They are wired to stand tall for those they care about, and though they may falter in other aspects of life, their loyalty rarely cracks. It is their crown jewel, the core of their character, and the reason so many people treasure having a Leo as a friend. When you look back on your life, you'll remember the times Leo stood beside you, sometimes loudly, sometimes dramatically, always with fire in their eyes. You'll remember how their loyalty felt like a shield, how their presence gave you courage, how their refusal to let go of you became the very thing that carried you forward. That is the essence of their friendship, not soft, not subtle, but fierce, unshakable, and eternal. The joy bringers. If life sometimes feels like a heavy gray cloud pressing down, a Leo friend has an uncanny way of parting the sky and letting in pure sunlight. They are the spark plugs of the zodiac, the ones who can ignite laughter in the dullest rooms and pull joy from places you thought were barren. Their natural role in friendship is that of the entertainer, the storyteller, and the fearless adventurer who refuses to let monotony or despair linger for long. When you're with a Leo, life feels larger, brighter, and more playful, like you've stepped into a world where the rules are softer and fun is always just around the corner. This gift of joy-giving isn't superficial. Leo's humor is theatrical and often exaggerated, yes, but it comes from a deeply sincere place. They don't just crack jokes to fill silence, they craft experiences out of moments. A Leo's laughter is rarely contained. It's big, bold, and contagious, spreading like wildfire until the whole group is grinning or gasping for breath. They carry the kind of presence that turns even the simplest outing into a story worth retelling later. A casual coffee date with them rarely stays casual. By the time you finish your drink, you've somehow drifted into a whirlwind of bold ideas, unexpected plans, and spontaneous laughter so loud you've forgotten the clock entirely. Leos thrive on performance, but not the kind that leaves others in the shadows. They want their friends to be part of the show, too. Picture them pulling you into the spotlight, nudging you to share your story, egging you on to dance, sing, or simply let loose. They don't tolerate gloom for long, not because they lack empathy, but because they believe joy is a medicine, and they're determined to prescribe it to the people they love most. When they see you sinking into self-doubt or sadness, they won't leave you there. They'll bombard you with jokes, dramatic reenactments, exaggerated pep talks, or even a silly song made up on the spot, all to remind you that you're capable of smiling again. Their instinct to lift moods is like a sixth sense. Leos can walk into a room and immediately detect the energy. If something feels heavy, they attack it with their arsenal of light. Maybe it's pulling you onto the dance floor when you're hesitant, or maybe it's surprising you with an unplanned road trip just because you've been too serious lately. They don't do small when it comes to joy. Their gestures are as bold as their personalities, and the result is unforgettable memories that stick with you long after the moment has passed. What makes their joy so irresistible is that it's rooted in authenticity. They don't perform happiness as a mask, they radiate it because it's who they are at their core. Their adventurous spirit craves fun, but their generous heart wants to share it. When a Leo laughs with you, it's not staged, It's a pure, unfiltered reaction that makes you feel like you've just shared something truly special. Their positivity isn't naive, either. Leos know pain, setbacks, and shadows, but they actively choose to confront them with brightness. In doing so, they teach their friends that joy is not a luxury, it's a necessity, a force that keeps you moving even when life tries to hold you down. Spending time with a Leo feels like being swept up in a whirlwind of energy that leaves you lighter than when you started. Their adventurous streak means you never quite know where a day will end. You might plan to run errands, but with them, errands somehow turn into spontaneous karaoke, detours to try new food spots, or last-minute tickets to a comedy show. They don't allow routine to dull the shine of life, they reinvent it, and by being in their orbit, you're constantly reminded of how vibrant everyday existence can be. There's also a childlike purity to their joy-bringing nature. Leos embrace play in a world that often pressures people to be serious, practical, or reserved. They'll start games, create inside jokes, or find amusement in the ordinary. That doesn't mean they're immature, it means they're brave enough to reject the idea that adulthood has to be dull. Their laughter has a freeing effect, reminding you that joy doesn't have to be earned or scheduled. It can be created, anytime, by daring to let go. Even in the darkest times, when you feel like the world has stolen your smile, a Leo has a way of coaxing it back. They'll remind you of your strengths in dramatic fashion, turning your quiet victories into grand stories, lifting you with compliments that feel less like flattery and more like declarations of truth. They believe in their friends with such intensity that it becomes nearly impossible not to believe in yourself again. Their joy doesn't just lighten the moment, it reignites your spirit. This is what makes them indispensable as friends. They are the antidote to despair, the ones who teach you that laughter isn't frivolous, it's survival. When you're too heavy, they'll lift you. When you're too rigid, they'll shake you loose. And when you're too sad to laugh, they'll laugh loud enough for both of you until, inevitably, you join in. Their gift is simple yet profound. The power to remind you that even in life's messiness, there's always space for joy. The best zodiac matches for friendship. When it comes to friendship, Leo has the ability to connect with nearly anyone, but there are certain signs that feel like they were tailor-made to complement Leo's blazing, solar energy. These signs don't just stand next to the lion, they dance with it, matching its rhythm, feeding its fire, and sometimes tempering it when needed. Together, they create friendships that are not only strong but unforgettable, each dynamic offering a unique balance that amplifies Leo's qualities while also bringing out the best in their companions. Aries is one of those extraordinary matches. Both being fire signs, the chemistry between Leo and Aries is almost immediate, like sparks leaping from dry wood into a roaring blaze. Aries thrives on action, spontaneity, and daring pursuits, and Leo thrives on passion, drama, and the thrill of adventure. Put them together, and you get a duo that seems unstoppable. They're the friends who start bold plans at midnight and actually follow through, whether that's a spontaneous road trip, a wild business idea, or signing up for an activity neither of them has ever tried before. There is a fearlessness that binds them, a willingness to leap first and figure out the landing later. And what makes it even more magnetic is their mutual admiration. Aries loves Leo's radiant confidence, while Leo admires Aries' fearless drive. They hype each other up, push one another forward, and in doing so, create a friendship that feels like pure momentum, an endless ride of energy, courage, and fun. Sagittarius is another match that feels like destiny for Leo. This bond is built on a shared hunger for freedom, fun, and exploration. Sagittarius brings curiosity and a restless spirit, always seeking new horizons, while Leo adds warmth, loyalty, and the desire to make every adventure feel larger than life. Together, they're like two travelers who never tire of the journey, because the journey itself is where the joy lives. Sagittarius fuels Leo's love for excitement, encouraging them to keep exploring new ideas, cultures, and experiences. At the same time, Leo provides Sagittarius with something they often lack: a constant, unwavering loyalty that grounds the friendship in trust. When Sagittarius wanders, Leo is the safe harbor to return to. And when Leo wants to shine, Sagittarius never feels threatened. Instead, they applaud, encourage, and celebrate the lion's moment in the spotlight. It's a partnership of freedom and faith, where both friends feel seen, valued, and endlessly entertained. Libra offers a different kind of harmony to Leo's fire. Air feeds fire, and Libra's charm, elegance, and sense of balance perfectly complement Leo's bold charisma. Where Leo might lean into drama, Libra smooths the edges with diplomacy, making sure situations don't spiral out of control. Where Leo demands attention, Libra knows how to share the stage gracefully, creating an environment where both can shine without competition. Their friendship feels like a symphony, Leo providing the soaring melodies and Libra layering in harmony. Socially, they are magnetic together, turning heads wherever they go. Leo's warmth attracts, and Libra's charm disarms, making them a duo everyone wants to be around. And on a deeper level, Libra appreciates Leo's loyalty and passion, while Leo treasures Libra's fairness and thoughtfulness. Together, they create balance, a perfect give and take where Leo's intensity feels supported rather than stifled. Then comes Gemini, whose endless curiosity and Quicksilver adaptability make them a natural companion for Leo's dynamic energy. A friendship between these two feels electric. Conversations spark and sizzle, leaping from one topic to another with boundless excitement. Gemini brings ideas, humor, and flexibility, while Leo brings passion, warmth, and the desire to turn those ideas into reality. Together, they are like a comedy duo, a creative team, or two explorers discovering the world with wide-eyed wonder. What makes this bond especially joyful is the playfulness both signs share. They tease each other, challenge each other, and constantly find new ways to keep the friendship fresh. Leo never feels bored with Gemini, because Gemini is always evolving, always offering something new. And Gemini feels secure with Leo, because behind the lion's charisma is a fiercely loyal friend who will defend them through thick and thin. It's a lively, spirited bond where laughter and creativity never run dry. These four signs, Aries, Sagittarius, Libra, and Gemini, don't merely tolerate Leo's intensity. They thrive on it, celebrate it, and mirror it in ways that make the friendship stronger. Aries matches Leo's boldness, Sagittarius fuels their love of exploration, Libra balances their drama with grace, and Gemini keeps pace with their endless energy. In each case, the friendship is more than compatibility, it's synergy. Together, they create memories, adventures, and connections that others can only envy. And for Leo, who thrives on loyalty, fun, and being surrounded by kindred spirits, these friendships aren't just enjoyable, they're life-giving, forming the heartbeat of their social world. The shadow side of friendship with a Leo. Every sun, no matter how brilliant, casts shadows, and the same is true for Leo in the realm of friendship. Their energy is radiant, their loyalty is powerful, their presence is magnetic, but like fire itself, that same force that warms and protects can also overwhelm and burn. To understand a Leo fully as a friend is to embrace not only their dazzling light but also the darker corners of their personality, the moments when their intensity shifts from inspiring to exhausting. It is not a rejection of who they are, but an acknowledgement of the fullness of their nature. One of the clearest challenges in being close to a Leo is their love for attention, which, at times, veers into self-centeredness. They don't always mean to dominate, but they often do. In conversations, they might unintentionally steer the spotlight back to themselves, turning group discussions into stages where their stories, their experiences, their feelings become the centerpiece. For some friends, this can feel draining, especially for those who crave balance or who struggle to be heard in their own right. The warmth of Leo's presence can, in those moments, feel suffocating instead of uplifting. It is not that they lack empathy, it's simply that their need to shine is so strong, it sometimes blinds them to the needs of others. Another difficult aspect of their shadow side is pride. If conflict arises, don't expect a Leo to quickly lower their head and admit fault. Their instinct is to defend themselves with roaring passion, standing tall and firm, even when they are clearly in the wrong. It's not stubbornness for its own sake, it's tied deeply to their sense of identity. To them, admitting defeat or weakness can feel like losing their dignity, and so they cling to their position with a grip that can frustrate even the most patient friends. Arguments with Leo can escalate quickly, not because they don't care, but because they care too much about being seen as strong, right, or unwavering. And yet, beneath that roaring pride lies a truth that complicates their shadow side. They hate hurting the people they love. When emotions settle and their ego softens, Leos are capable of heartfelt apologies, often accompanied by grand gestures to make amends. They might take time to reach that point, sometimes more time than their friends wish, but the eventual reconciliation is sincere. Their fire cools into warmth again, and their passion turns toward healing the bond they momentarily strained. Understanding this cycle makes it easier to navigate conflict with them. Patience, space, and a willingness to let their ego deflate naturally will often lead to genuine resolution. Then there is their dramatic streak. Leos are ruled by the sun, but they often behave as though they belong on a stage, with life itself serving as their audience. This flair for drama can be thrilling when it's playful or celebratory, but in friendship, it sometimes amplifies problems unnecessarily. A small slight can become a major wound in their eyes, and a minor misunderstanding can feel like betrayal. They experience emotions with intensity, and they express them with just as much volume. To their friends, this can be exhausting. What feels small to you may feel monumental to them. But again, the root of this drama is their passion. They care so deeply that every high feels euphoric and every low feels catastrophic. What makes the shadow side of Leo both challenging and forgivable is its source. Their self-centered moments come from a desire to be loved. Their pride comes from a need to protect their heart. Their drama comes from their passion. None of it is rooted in malice. And because of that, their friends often find themselves willing to endure these shadows, because the light they offer is so extraordinary. To be close to a Leo means learning to accept the thunder with the sunshine, the roaring with the purring, the flare of ego with the depths of loyalty. Over time, many friends come to see these shadows less as flaws and more as extensions of Leo's fiery spirit. They are not always easy to handle, but they are always honest. A Leo will never betray you by being false or withholding their feelings. Their struggles, their pride, their need for attention, their drama, are all out in the open, blazing for you to see. And with that honesty comes the opportunity to navigate their shadows with compassion, patience, and understanding. Because when you do, you discover that the storm always passes and the sun, the true Leo, always returns to shine again. The nurturers in disguise. What so many people misunderstand about Leo is that behind the boldness, the flair, the need to be seen and celebrated, lies a surprisingly tender heart that beats with the desire to care for others. Leo is not only a showman, not only a leader, not only a fiery presence that lights up rooms. They are, at their core, nurturers. But unlike Cancer or Pisces, who reveal care through quiet comfort, whispered encouragement, or gentle emotional support, Leo expresses nurturing in grand, unmistakable gestures. Their love does not tiptoe. It bursts through the door with a flourish, and once you've felt it, you never doubt its sincerity. For a Leo friend, nurturing means going far beyond the minimum. They won't simply remember your birthday. They'll make sure it becomes a full-blown event, complete with decorations, laughter, and a guest list curated just to make you feel like royalty. If you're struggling, they won't limit themselves to a sympathetic text message. They will physically show up, sometimes dramatically, refusing to let you stay stuck in a place of darkness. They'll pull you into their orbit, insist you join them for an outing, remind you through action that life is bigger than whatever pain is consuming you at the moment. Their version of care is active, visible, and infused with vitality, because to Leo, love is not meant to be hidden. It is meant to be celebrated and felt. This doesn't mean that their nurturing is shallow or performative. Quite the opposite. It is deeply sincere, perhaps even more so because it comes with such bold energy. A Leo will nurture not because they feel obligated, but because they genuinely cannot help themselves. Their hearts are wired to protect, to uplift, to remind others of their own worth. When a Leo loves you as a friend, they see you as part of their pride, and just like a lion in the wild, they will go to extraordinary lengths to ensure their pride is safe, strong, and thriving. Consider the times when you feel defeated, when life has stripped you of confidence. A Leo friend will not only remind you of your value with words, but they will create an environment where you cannot help but feel it. They will tell everyone in the room about your accomplishments, even if you're too modest to share them yourself. They will brag about you to strangers, defend your name in your absence, and make sure you understand that, in their eyes, you are extraordinary. Their nurturing may be dramatic, but it works. It pulls you back into the light. The beauty of Leo's nurturing side is that it operates through joy. They don't coddle in ways that make you feel weak. Instead, they uplift in ways that make you feel stronger. If you're brokenhearted, they may not sit quietly with you in endless sadness. They'll take you dancing, crack jokes until you laugh through tears, or plan a surprise to shift your energy. If you're afraid of failure, they'll counter with stories of courage, shower you with belief, and remind you that you are far more powerful than you realize. Their care is about transformation, taking you from a place of heaviness into a place of light. There is also a regal quality to their nurturing. They treat their friends like kings and queens, showering them with compliments, gifts, and tokens of appreciation. Some might misinterpret this as extravagance or showmanship, but beneath the glitter is a simple truth. They want you to feel treasured. They want you to feel that your presence in their life is not just important, but essential. And so they show it in the most visible ways possible, because for Leo, love and friendship are never meant to be hidden in shadows. They are meant to be illuminated for all to see. At times, their way of nurturing can feel overwhelming. Not everyone is comfortable with such bold displays of affection. Some friends may prefer quiet support over lavish gestures. But once you understand the Leo heart, you realize that their grand gestures are not about them, they are about you. Their dramatic energy is simply the language they speak, the way their fire translates into love. And if you allow yourself to accept it, you find that their care penetrates deeper than you imagined, because it's not just about what they do, it's about how fiercely they mean it. Leo's nurturing side is also revealed in their protective instincts. They watch over their friends carefully, noticing shifts in mood or energy. If something seems wrong, they address it, often head-on, because they refuse to let the people they love suffer in silence. They'll fight for you, cheer for you, and even challenge you when they believe you're underselling yourself. Their nurturing isn't only about comfort, it's about growth. They want to see you rise, and they will not allow you to shrink when they know your spirit is meant to expand. Perhaps the most touching aspect of Leo's nurturing side is how personal it is. They may be grand in their expressions, but they are also specific. They remember the details that matter: your favorite drink, your go-to comfort song, the way you like to celebrate victories, and they incorporate those details into their gestures. This attention shows that their nurturing is not generic, but tailored to you, because they see you not as just another friend, but as a vital, irreplaceable part of their life. So while many might only notice the boldness, the charisma, the flair of Leo, those who are close enough to call them a friend know the truth. Leos are nurturers in disguise. They love loudly, they care dramatically, and they nurture fiercely. Their style may be larger than life, but the sincerity behind it is undeniable. Beneath the roar of the lion is the heartbeat of a caretaker, a friend who will stop at nothing to see you thrive, smile, and shine as brightly as they believe you are destined to. Growth through friendship with a Leo. Friendship with a Leo is rarely neutral. It's not the kind of connection that drifts quietly in the background of your life, steady but unremarkable. Instead, it's transformative, dynamic, and at times, even life-altering. When you stand close to a Leo, you can't help but feel their energy seep into you, their conviction that life is meant to be lived boldly, their refusal to settle for mediocrity, their relentless push toward joy and greatness. They are the kind of friends who demand that you rise, not through force or cruelty, but through belief so powerful it begins to rewrite the way you see yourself. Leo doesn't allow their friends to play small. They spot potential the way some people spot flaws, instantly and with laser focus, except instead of criticizing, they encourage. If you've been hiding your talents, a Leo will call you out. If you've been undervaluing your worth, they will argue with you until you see what they see, someone capable of far more than they realize. This unwavering faith in your potential is not quiet, it's loud, passionate, insistent. And that insistence is contagious. Even if you doubt yourself, it becomes harder and harder to hold on to that doubt when your Leo friend won't stop reminding you that you're extraordinary. The growth that comes from this kind of friendship isn't always comfortable. Leos are not subtle mentors. They challenge you, sometimes in ways that feel too direct, too blunt, or too demanding. They will tell you when you're selling yourself short, they will push you into opportunities you're afraid to take, and they will drag you into adventures you never thought you'd dare to try. And in the moment, you might resist. You might argue. You might even feel frustrated by their refusal to let you sit quietly in your comfort zone. But afterward, when the dust settles, you see what they were doing all along, forcing you to confront your own strength. With Leo, laughter is also part of the growth. They remind you that expansion doesn't always have to be painful, it can be joyous. They push you to laugh louder, to celebrate victories with abandon, to embrace life not as a series of tasks but as a stage for experiences. They teach you that joy itself can be transformative, that allowing yourself to feel happiness deeply is not frivolous but necessary. In their company, you learn not only how to strive but also how to savor. One of the most remarkable things about growing with a Leo as a friend is that their belief in you never wavers. Even when you stumble, even when you fail, even when you fall into self-doubt, they refuse to give up on you. Their loyalty, combined with their fiery encouragement, creates a safe space where failure isn't final, it's simply part of the journey. That kind of support allows you to take bigger risks, to reach for dreams you once thought impossible, because you know you won't face the consequences alone. At times, their push can feel overwhelming. Their energy is so insistent that it may seem like they're asking too much, too soon. But what sets them apart is that they don't push for their own sake, they push for yours. They see in you what you cannot yet see in yourself, and they're determined to bring it to light. This determination can feel relentless, but when you look back, you realize that every nudge, every challenge, every dramatic pep talk was steering you toward becoming braver, stronger, and more confident than you thought you could be. Friendship with a Leo is not about standing still. It is about motion, about growth, about becoming more than you were yesterday. They inspire you not by preaching from a distance, but by living as examples themselves, bold, vibrant, unafraid of the spotlight. Their very existence challenges you to rise to your fullest potential, to embrace life in all its complexity and richness. And once you've experienced that kind of friendship, you're never quite the same again. Because in the end, the true magic of having a Leo as a friend is this: they don't just believe in who you are, they believe in who you can become. And through their laughter, their challenges, their fiery encouragement, and their unwavering presence, they guide you toward that future version of yourself, the one who stands taller, shines brighter, and dares to dream bigger than ever before. In the end, Leo as a friend is a mixture of sunlight and fire, warmth, joy, loyalty, and sometimes a little burn if things get too heated. But if you can embrace their radiance and handle their occasional storms, you'll discover a bond that feels unshakable. Because once a Leo calls you their friend, you're not just a companion, you're part of their pride. When everything is said and done, when all the laughter, drama, loyalty, and challenges have been lived through, what truly defines Leo as a friend is this: they are sunlight and fire in human form. They are the warmth you crave when life feels cold, the laughter you didn't know you needed when days turn heavy, the roar that protects you when the world threatens, and the flame that burns a little too hot sometimes, reminding you that great power always comes with intensity. To have a Leo in your life is to live in the presence of something unmissable, unforgettable, and deeply human in its brilliance and flaws alike. Their warmth is not the kind that flickers or fades, it is constant, steady, like the sun itself. They know how to lift you when you are down, how to remind you of your worth when you've forgotten it, and how to make the ordinary sparkle with their radiant energy. They love loudly, celebrate boldly, and refuse to let you go through life unnoticed. Even when they are not physically present, the memory of their laughter, their encouragement, or even their dramatic storytelling lingers like a glow in your chest. This warmth is one of the reasons people gravitate toward them, often without even realizing it. But Leo is not only warmth, they are also fire. And fire, while life-giving, can scorch. Their intensity means that when things get heated, when pride is bruised, when drama takes center stage, when attention becomes too one-sided, you may feel burned. Their storms can roll in quickly, thundering with passion, and for friends who prefer calm seas, this can feel overwhelming. Yet even in these fiery outbursts, there is something honest. A Leo never hides how they feel. Their storms are as genuine as their sunshine. And once the tempest passes, what remains is a bond that is stronger, clearer, more alive. If you can embrace both sides, the warmth and the fire, you begin to see the true gift of their friendship. They are not meant to be lukewarm companions who blend into the background. They are meant to challenge you, to energize you, to shake you out of complacency and remind you of the vitality of living. They will demand your attention, sometimes frustrate you with their pride, but they will also defend you fiercely, celebrate you extravagantly, and love you in a way that never leaves you guessing. And perhaps the most extraordinary thing about Leo's friendship is the sense of belonging they create. To be chosen by them is to be adopted into something larger than yourself. You are no longer just a companion, you are part of their pride. This is not a word they use lightly. In their world, pride means family, loyalty, and shared strength. It means that when they say, "I've got you," they mean it with every fiber of their being. It means that your victories become theirs, your struggles become their battles, and your presence in their life is treated as a treasure. Over time, you begin to realize that the bond you share with a Leo isn't fragile. It weathers storms, withstands egos, and endures the dramatic highs and lows. It is unshakable, not because it is free of conflict, but because it is built on a foundation of passion, sincerity, and unwavering commitment. Leo doesn't let go easily, and once you are inside their circle, it takes something monumental to break that connection. Their pride is their world, and if you are part of it, you are there to stay. So yes, Leo as a friend is sunlight and fire. They will warm you, they will light your path, they will sometimes burn, but they will always be real. And if you can embrace the totality of who they are, their radiance, their storms, their loyalty, and their theatrical flair, you will find a friendship unlike any other. Because once a Leo calls you their friend, you are not just standing beside them, you are standing inside the glow of their fire, protected by their roar, and cherished as part of their pride forever.